The capability to be resilient and sustain in cybersecurity translates to defense in depth.
You're very passionate about visibility.
Yeah,
What does true visibility mean for you?
there was already too much of gyan on cybersecurity. Possibly the humor and sarcasm to the cybersecurity angle can kind of make a bit of a difference. Traditional telcos used to take 4 days to activate a SIM card. Jio used to do that in 30 minutes. But this is disruption.
Every single day, thousands of attempts are made to break into the digital vaults of India's fourth largest bank. But there's one man who stands at the gates, armed not with weapons, but with wit, sarcasm, and code. He's an army man who chose networks over rifles, a security expert, and an occasional LinkedIn comic. He's fought digital wars long before most of us knew what a packet even was.
It is only plan A and plan A plus, which is go back to plan A.
And when he talks about cyber resilience, it's insightful and built on years of experience. This is not just a conversation, it's your masterclass in keeping digital India unbreakable.
There are 2 things which are fundamental to cybersecurity.
Welcome to Between the Lines, where we discuss the art of innovation with technology in business. Over the last 8 months, I have had the extreme privilege to work together with F5 and host 12 roundtables with CXOs around the world, right from Singapore, KL, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Mumbai, Bangalore, to London, Dubai, Dallas, and New York. In all these cities, we had deep discussions with CXOs on issues that matter. And in Between the Lines, we delve deeper into these issues. We unravel the challenges, the pitfalls, and the lessons in integrating technology better and delivering better outcomes for business. And together with Mohan, you have been a partner in crime.
Thanks, Manoj. And I think the CXO roundtables that we participated and conducted over the last couple of months has just revealed a lot. It's been fascinating when you try to understand what actually happens actually behind the scenes, between the lines. And I think we've also managed to do a job of actually capturing this in a playbook. And the Cyber Resilience Playbook, which will be the first playbook that we release, you can download it in the show notes, and we actually will be coming up with more playbooks. And these playbooks are actually real-world engagements, real-world understanding of what to do when it comes to technology.
Yeah, and that's why we are starting this series in Mumbai, where we are bringing together CXOs from India, people who participated in these roundtables, to say, let's dig deeper, let's go more closer to look at real issues, share practical tips and examples, and that's why we're going to kickstart this series today in Mumbai.
Exactly, and after that, we'll be moving on to the other countries where we've had the roundtables, and also we'll be learning from CXOs in different countries to see what was similar and what was different. So I'm really looking forward to this series, Manoj.
Yeah, and welcome to Mumbai, my
thank you.
hometown. And we're going to start with the first guest. We are super privileged to have Abhijit Chakravarty. He is the EVP for Network and Security with Kotak Mahindra Bank, India's 4th largest bank by market capitalization. As much as we know him for his work in cybersecurity, he is extremely well known for his humor on LinkedIn. His posts in LinkedIn gather more attention than potentially his posts on cybersecurity. So welcome, Abhijit. Truly a delight to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, Abhijit. Great to have
Thank
you
you,
here.
Manoj and Mohan. On the posts on LinkedIn, I realized there was already too much of gyan on cybersecurity, and people were possibly, reading it, some liking it, some not liking it. That's why I thought that, kind of possibly the humor and sarcasm to the cybersecurity angle can kind of make a bit of a difference. That's about it.
So, Abhijit, one or many of your personal life or the way you have grown up would have influenced your cybersecurity posture in a way. What is there any experiences, personal experiences that have influenced how you practice cyber resilience and cybersecurity?
Now in boxing, if you observe, right, in boxing, you're punching someone else, right? What happens if you get punched? Can you sustain? And obviously if you get punched, you will be shaken a bit. See, it's just about impossible to keep standing as is, right? You will be shaken a bit. How soon do you recover? After you recover, are you clear? Your senses telling you what you should do now? This is exactly what happens in cybersecurity. So you kind of have a cybersecurity posture. You've got to look at it from an attacker's perspective, saying that if an attacker is to look at this, where will he get through? Like in a boxing, if you're throwing your punches too wide and you leave a gap between your body and your arm, someone can sneak in that gap. Right? So this is what cybersecurity is also equally analogous to. So you've got to be able to identify that. And when you get hit, you will get hit. See, you cannot be a boxer and say, I'll never get hit. So you can have the best cybersecurity posture, but you will never be able to make this statement that I'll never get breached, I'll never get attacked. No. So the capability to be resilient and sustain in cybersecurity translates to defense and depth. Okay. T stands for threat, R stands for risk, I stands for impact, and the C stands for consequence. Look at it from this angle. Whatever you do, look at it from this angle. Now, threat and risk are something that a technologist will understand. Impact and consequence is something that the business understands. So you want to have a buy-in, don't go and give your jargons. It's not going to fly because they don't understand it. Right. So, just to kind of give you an example, if I ask you, would you like a Mangifera indica? You'll say, Abhijit, what are you bullshit are you saying, right? You know what's a Mangifera indica?
No, can you please help me understand?
That's the biological name for mango. Now, if I'm to speak that language, will you understand? No, you've got to speak the customer's language, right? So I think that piece of it is also important, right? So secondly, the why piece of it is important. If you are wanting to do something, why are you wanting to do it? Have very clear understanding, in-depth understanding of, forget the commercials piece of it, but understand as to where is it today? Why am I wanting to do it? From where I am today, what will change or improve? How will this positively impact my business? What can it give to the business?
Right.
This is something that you've got to look at very, very minutely.
So how do you balance that? I mean, right now you're in a bank, which is a regulated industry, right? And so how do you balance this innate hunger for trying new things, applying new things versus the compliance regime that you're probably in?
Another good question. So let's take a point in case example. I think I should be able to help you understand where I'm coming from. So every organization today has something called as the SIM, the SIEM, right now. The SIEM is known for what it does right now. Now, along with the SIM, you would also have a SOAR for your automation and orchestration piece of it. Now, these are two different sets of technologies. There are possibly two different OEMs, and obviously the overall licensing, management, operations, different teams, right? Now, the regulation piece of it is understood as to why is that SIM required. I think that's not lost. Now, this has been the traditional approach if you look at it over the past 10, 15 odd years, maybe 20 odd years, right? Now, when I was kind of, very recently I was, the CISO in my organization is a partner in crime. So we are both, hands up guys, like we roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty. But I asked him, I said, buddy, why do we need a SIM? So he said, okay, so if you don't do a SIM, what will you do? I said, why don't you do an XDR? I said, let's debate. What is it that an XDR cannot do that a SIM and SOAR can do? And if an XDR can do what a SIM and SOAR does, why do we need a SIM and a SOAR? Why don't we do it only one? XDR is much leaner, it's much faster, threat intel is built within the XDR. Your automation and orchestration capability is built within the XDR. The only limitation, by my research, the only limitation is a SIM can store data for a very long period of time. An XDR may not be able to do that. Now, that being the only constraint, I said, okay, let's keep that constraint aside and see if we can figure out a solution. But can we do an XDR?
So is it a compliance reason that you're required to have that SIM and SOAR?
Yes, SIM and SOAR is a compliance. Now, whereas I'm looking at a solution whereas I'm not violating the compliance or I'll not minimize the compliance, but can I do it smarter? Can I do it more sharper? Can I look at it from the perspective of a better technology with cost optimization and better scalability and performance. So this is where that innate curiosity and hunger arises. So why not do this?
So Abhijit, if we go back, you have had a diverse set of, you worked in, Geo. At that time, it was a greenfield company.
Yeah.
What were the experiences there that in many ways have shaped a lot of what you do today?
Important pieces of learning there was design for scale. Design for scale. Have a view of at least 10 years, not the 3 years that we talk about. Now, when you design for scale for 10 years, it is not only about technology. You've got to be careful about the environment. You've got to be careful about compliances. You've got to be careful about regulatory, which means that the system that you design should be capable to hold good across all those domains for at least 10 years.
So you had this vision or thinking that we could go from 1 to 500 million customers.
Yes, so that was one. Second is operational excellency. In terms of operational excellence, how do you use automation and orchestration? Where all can you build that up? Cut down on mundane human interventions. But yes, do keep a watch. But how do you embrace automation? How do you do it with a platform-based approach? Don't do it using a siloed, multiple tools-based approach. That doesn't work, right? So how do you kind of look at a platform-based approach, look at automation, and so obviously your efficiency. See, when Jio came in with the services, let's just talk about the mobile services, if not anything else. Traditional telcos used to take 4 days to activate a SIM card, which means you buy a SIM card today, you wait for 4 days to make a first call. Jio used to do that in 30 minutes. Now this is disruption. This is where technology plays. That question or curiosity of why should it take 4 days? Why is it taking 4 days? What is the process that we're using? Right. So, what are the different?
And you had to think about it because of the scale.
Because
right?
of this,
you can't do it in 4 days.
Hours, no one is going to wait.
4 days, yeah.
Yeah, 4 days, no one is going to wait. And when you kind of look at scale, why should someone wait for 4 hours? Why can't we do it in 4 minutes, half an hour, whatever, right? So that was the question. The third piece of it was visibility. Do you know what you do? How much of it do you know? Right. The fourth was resiliency. Design for things that do not fail. Possibly wherever doable, look at auto healing. Look at self-healing, look at auto-healing. So all these pieces, I think, was very, very, this kind of gave me a lot of exposure into that thought process. Yeah.
Greenfield versus brownfield. Yeah, maybe you can talk about the different approaches there because it's very different.
Sure. Greenfield versus brownfield, Mohan, you asked that. Greenfield, well, you have the, what is that? Since you're doing something new, you're going to go ahead and disrupt something. If you fail once, you can come back and try something new. There is always a learning curve to it. But yes, you have to also have an end goal.
Absolutely.
To it, right? Brownfield is like doing an open heart surgery. You can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
So I always say this, that in operations, there is nothing called as plan B. It is only plan A and plan A plus, which is go back to plan A. You don't have a plan B. Yeah. Greenfield, you have that option. If this doesn't work, we try this. But there is no trying there. You've got to set that correct, right? So.
You're very passionate about visibility.
Yeah.
Is visibility just dashboards, or what does true visibility mean for you?
See, visibility in dashboards, okay, they have to be dashboards, but what visibility means to me, see, visibility has to be able to report the complete journey, not a point in time or a siloed number. That doesn't help. So the favorite example that I always use, I'll reiterate, I'm sure a lot of people have already heard me, but I'll still try and say this is, so when you have fever, you put a thermometer. What does the thermometer tell you? You have fever, 102.4. Okay. Now what? So this is a dashboard. This is a report. Now, why has that fever? Now, would you want to treat a fever as a end point problem, or you want to treat the fever as a symptom to a particular problem, is where visibility comes in between. So now you want to go deep and see, is this fever because of upset stomach, or does he have a internal kind of, some problem, some disease somewhere which is causing this fever? Is it a bacterial fever? Is it a viral fever? Is it a allergic fever? You don't know. But till the time you don't do this, you don't have visibility. You only have a report of 102.4. And treating that 102.4 will cure you for a short time, but you will not be able to sustain. So when I say visibility, I'm very, very, kind of passionate about sustained visibility. Otherwise, it doesn't work with me.
And in depth. So
And in depth.
give us an example. Give us an example of, let's say, how would you get the visibility and you'd have gone deeper to be able to.
A real life example that happened in the current organization, right? So we suddenly saw one day, we had all visibilities, okay? We suddenly saw one day that the firewall was getting a bit overwhelmed, in the sense that it was trying to process a lot of traffic, it was not able to. And since this traffic were coming from applications, in the endpoints, they were continuously retrying. DNS traffic for that case, proxy traffic for that case, client-based traffic, so they'll always retry. I'm trying, not getting, I'll keep on trying. So I'm sending you a request you're not able to process, but I don't care, I'm trying again, right? So you're overwhelmed now. The firewall was overwhelmed. And we were like, why is the firewall overwhelmed? What is that? Did we have visibility? Yes, we knew that the firewall was overwhelmed, right? The question was why? Why did this traffic has to come up? Did come up today? It didn't come up yesterday. What changed, right? And so that piece of it was something that was not at that point in time ingrained to the visibility. So we worked towards it. Second is, we were monitoring on the firewall, visibility. We were monitoring which policies are taking how many number of hits. So we were possibly Mohan will understand this a bit better, but we were monitoring success. In the firewall, you also have a drop queue. We weren't monitoring the drop queue. And we realized, the packet goes all the way down and then drops. So you eat so much of resources into the firewall before you actually decide you want to drop it. So from a firewall design, policy design perspective, it may be good to bring the drop queue to the top. So that if you want to drop something, decide it at the top. Don't let it go through everything else, right? So this kind of gave deeper insights into, where is the packet flowing, how is it flowing, can we look at optimizing our firewall rule policies, and obviously go back and check where this traffic was coming from. And we realized that the Microsoft guys set up a few more domains with their teams and collaboration suites, and obviously these were not whitelisted, and the firewall was dropping traffic. So that got us thinking, saying that, hey, Microsoft, you launch something new, you've got to tell us. We are not an open system that you run something and we'll allow it.
So
these are visibilities. This is where we built it up again.
I think one of the challenges with visibility is, of course, complexity. Right. So, and going into a brownfield or a banking environment, you'll have multiple vendors. Everyone will have their own dashboards. Everyone is pushing their dashboards. There'll be a SIM vendor, SOAR vendor. It comes from multiple angles, right? How do you address this? I mean, do you have to decide on one technology and slowly remove things? Because from what I see, a lot of banks will have 50 security vendors, 60 security vendors. What is your approach to that? Because that does not, that actually clouds visibility.
Yeah. So what we have started to do, and this has been a learning across a period of time, is, see, every OEM, as you rightly said, would come in with their set of tools, visibility and manageability tools, and you will need to take it because the amount of detailed data that an OEM can capture, a third-party tool will not be able to capture right now. When it comes to reporting, dashboarding, triaging, correlating, see, that OEM will work only with that particular technology stack. It's blind to the environment, right? So what we have done is that we have built a manager of managers. So using Grafana and Prometheus, we kind of export everything that we have in these different technology stacks. We take it to the Grafana and Prometheus. That's where we run correlation, that's where we run triaging, and that's where from there we do our consolidated visibility. So if, say, for example, someone says that, well, my transactions from an X application to the core banking is running slow. Today, I have the capability to detect it at physical layer, at network layer, at application layer, at operating system layer,
Right.
at a database layer, collate all that, and then give the visibility saying that these are a few things which we see anomalous. And not only this, we kind of also look at past data. So which means that what was your behavior and pattern in the last 7 days? What of that behavior versus today's behavior is looking anomalous? And who is generating this anomaly?
Do you think that reducing the number of OEMs will help? Right? Maybe moving to more of a platform approach with OEMs.
I would definitely say moving to a platform would help, but again,
What is your experience?
see, I
Pros
have
and cons.
right. So looking at a platform, you may not have the best of breeds in the platform that you have in the siloed OEMs. But I think what's important, in my own opinion and view, is you've got to look at it. How much of which features do you use?
It's
You-
like, for example, you have Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
You're only using 10% of Word.
Correct. So when you're buying a Microsoft licenses, they bundle it, they give you a lot of things with it. How much of it do you use it? Now, if you're not really using those features, but you get the same features with the platform, or maybe you get 90% of it, not 100% of it, will it impact your business? Will it impact your operations? I think you've got to take that call. But running on a platform is always good, because I very firmly believe that this word called integration can be the killer.
A black hole.
Yeah, I mean, it can be both used and abused, right? So that integration piece of it, let's say, for example, I've two technologies integrated, and I say that, okay, if I see orange, this is how you behave, and if I see red, this is how you behave. Okay. Now there's an update to one of the technology platforms. The other platform, was it tuned to understand this? If not, you've already created another problem for yourself.
Let's say, Abhijit, something does slip through. A breach does happen. Can you walk us through what is the chaos that happens during a breach day? How do you respond?
Yeah, so if a breach happens, I think the first thing is that capability, capability to detect that a breach has happened. I think that's the starting point, right? If you don't have it, any which ways you are dead, right? So, but if a breach happens, your capability to detect, and the faster the better, obviously. Then comes the capability to diagnose. And when you say diagnose, when I say diagnose, I am not wanting even right now to pinpoint. I'm saying, what is the probability? What are the probable causes that has led to this breach? It may not be a single, it at the end of the day, may not be a single incident. It could be a multitude of incidents that has led to this breach, right? So can you diagnose that, right? Corrective actions can only happen if you have this two in place. Otherwise, I think you're beating in the dark. So chaos obviously does happen. So you're breached. Then
Is that taking the hit as a boxer?
that is taking the hit as a boxer, especially if you're punched in the nose. Yeah, that's a breach. That's a breach.
That's a
Your
breach,
defense has failed. Bad.
Let's say you have
Nose and
prepared.
chin in the boxing are the 2 points, right? That shakes up.
Let's say you are prepared well. You do all these drills. But when it really happens, things don't work as per plan. What are the common areas? What is the difference between drill day and real day?
So if you do drills that are pre-informed, I think that's a fallacy. You should just keep off it. You do drills, but don't inform. Don't inform anyone of the drills. Your drills have to be designed to check your playbooks that you have already created. That's one. Secondly, you've got to, this is a bit of a theoretical exercise, takes some time, but again, you've got to go back to the pen and paper and drawing board, is look at the MITRE attack framework, look at your playbooks, look at what you have done and what you have not done. Now, for not done, do you have the capability to do it? Yes, go ahead and do it. If no, look at what are the compensatory controls that you can have. So because you may not be able to control everything, so then you need to look at compensatory controls, right? So I think building those up are important. So you've got to understand there are direct controls, there are indirect controls, compensatory controls, peripheral controls. You've got to look, and when you kind of look at your overall posture, you've got to look at what do I have on the axis, what do I have on the perimeter, and what do I have on the core. These are the three areas where people will come in from. Obviously, insider piece of it is also there right now. You've got to look at this absolutely with threadbare brutality.
So we've talked about controls, visibility, on a perimeter inside. So what about the people aspect?
That's exactly what I said. So how would people access something? So today, when your attack surface is kind of just spreading all about, see, the perimeter is dead, Mohan. You would understand this, right? The perimeter is dead. There is nothing called the perimeter. In my opinion, the only perimeter that is available today is the identity.
Yeah.
How vehement and brutal are you with your identity and access management? That is number one. A couple of things that I would kind of put on the table when you kind of look at building capability around defense and your capability to recover also. One is identity and access management. Second is data backup and recovery. What do you do? How do you know that the data you have backed up is not infected already? How sure can you be? How sure are you? And why are you sure? Right. The third, obviously, is the actual action on ground. So how well trained are your people? So awareness, training, I think are very, very important.
So give an example. Let's say you practiced, and how did this drill really come into play? If you can give a specific example where that practice helped you recover better.
So, we were trying to check our AD security because Active Directory becomes the heart of a system, any system today. I mean, though I can argue as to why you should have an AD, but that's a separate discussion. But once you have an Active Directory, that becomes the heart of your system. Anyone gains access to your AD, you are nearly dead now, right? Now, you have AD security deployed. Not too many organizations do it, by the way, in my own observations. If you ask 10 organizations, do you have AD security? I think 8 of them will say no, right? So this is what this is my observation. Now, when you kind of test your AD, how do you want to test your AD? Do a brute force, do a password spray, look at your service accounts and see, how good, bad, ugly, weak, strong are they. So we do this. We kind of look at, so we have created a playbook saying that if there is a brute force or a password spray, what are the things that I should be able to detect? And we do this unannounced. We don't tell the AD guy we are doing it. We just go out, we tell the red team, just do it. Only a few of us are aware as to what will happen, and we, kind of are a bit vigilant on our, tools, but otherwise we just go ahead and do it. But that's the test. And what happens is I actually advocate that. Obviously, we are tied up with a partner for red teaming. We also have our own team. Every time that red teaming exercise happens, I tell the partner, please get a different engineer from your side to come and do it, because he doesn't know my environment.
Yeah, you're right.
He doesn't know my environment. He'll be all out. I want that to happen. He is actually wanting to attack. Because someone who knows my environment, he knows that, this doesn't work, I'll try this. I don't want that knowledge. It didn't work last time, but it may work now. How do I know? Right. So that piece of, I think I do not know if I should say, if this looks good, but your capability to handle surprises has to be measurable.
Do you think over the years, your appetite to support the business has improved, or has it reduced? Given that we are so always worried about risk and security.
So it is definitely improved, and it's been much better. So we work with the business to look at their GTMs, but yes, there is one piece of it. Security cannot be compromised. Let me give you a very layman's example that we do in everyday life, possibly. Suppose you were to go and purchase some groceries maybe half an hour away from your home. How comfortable would you be leaving your home
Open.
totally open and go? It's half an hour, right? What's the risk? I think you've got to ask that same question. Now, risks can be mitigated, accepted, or transferred. Look at it. Secondly, if you cannot mitigate a risk and you cannot transfer a risk, you've got to accept the risk. Now, with that risk, what is the impact and consequence? Be clear with it. Is it okay? It may be okay in some cases, it may not be okay in all cases. So you've got to look at this categorically. So a one design or a one approach fits all doesn't work. You've got to be stricter with your critical applications, with your customer facing applications. You can be a bit lenient with your inner applications, but the basic controls will have to be there. They cannot be compromised. No compromise allowed there.
What about the dimension of cost, right? Does that play a part?
Surely does.
Because
It
then
surely
that
does.
determines how much you want to risk.
It's how much business impact. So suppose if there is a cost to comply or a cost to deploy, whatever way, if that is X, and if you don't do it, the consequence can be a 2X. Is that okay?
Yeah.
You may say, 2X, I'm fine. 5X, no, I'm not fine. So you've got to take a call there.
And that's how you approach speaking to the board and to your...
Yeah, I always use that trick that, I always put it in 4 quadrants, TRIC,
I see.
and leave it there.
So what is the one firefight that helped you realize the value of both the visibility as well as operational framework?
So very recently we were this was exactly not a fire, but it was causing a lot of anxiety because we saw between 12 noon to 12:20 or 20 minutes, we used to see an issue with our UPI payment system, and we first, since it was not impacting anything
During the day.
Yeah, during the day.
Okay.
During the day, 12 noon to 12:20. So first 3 days we observed. It exactly starts at 12:01, 12:02. By the time it kind of builds up and then normalizes. We're like bug, saying that what's going wrong? We tried to check everything in terms of configurations, etc., malware. We couldn't detect. Then we said that, okay, let's look at the service mappings and APIs that this application runs with anything else. Right? So we started doing that. End of the day, we figured out that from the cloud, there was an API. But we saw that from the cloud, an application during that point in time used to initiate a batch file. And that was so big, it used to overwhelm the system. Okay. What did we miss? API monitoring. Yeah. API monitoring, is the API live? Yes, it is live. But were we monitoring how much traffic is going in that API, what point in time, are we doing the rate limiting? Yeah. I think these are all learning systems. These are all systems. I don't think this is possible to do it in day one, but you've got to be very passionate about detecting, monitoring.
When do you bring in boards? When do you bring in regulators? When do you update them?
So
How do you decide?
Yeah, so for a bank, Manoj, if I have an outage in my customer-facing systems, like a payment system or any other customer-facing application for 30 minutes, I've got to update the regulator.
Within 30 minutes.
If
has lasted
the
30
incident lasts more than 30 minutes, you've got to update irrespective if you have recovered in 31st minute. But if the incident lasted for 30 minutes, you've got to update the regulator. There's a portal in which you have to punch in all those details. And then obviously the fun starts, right? So from the board perspective, so any incident which kind of results in a financial loss, or it'll have a financial bearing as a part of a penalty from the regulator or an entity, is even for 10 lakhs we keep the board informed, because that kind of has a bearing on the brand image or the brand logo.
You deal with a lot of customers, and the customers are accessing your customer-facing systems with their own, devices. So what is your view of if a customer device gets a malware or it gets compromised and it's accessing your system. So, I know this is a question a lot of banks are grappling with. What is your view of that?
So one thing is that as to what does the customer do when he accesses. If you're read only, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you're uploading something, then I have a problem. So suppose, for example, you log into my system and I have told, and you're seeking a loan, right? You're wanting to take a loan. So I'll obviously ask you for documentation and you'll upload. That is a problem. Right? So I'll give you a very example. In my erstwhile organization, one day the HR walked up to me saying, "Hey, Abhijit, people are not able to upload documents." I said, "People who?" So many people around, right? So I said, "People who?" So I said, "No, the candidates that we interview, as a part of the process, they've got to upload their documents and they're not able to." So I said, "None of them?" No, some of them can, some of them can't. I said, "Okay."
Wow.
Now this is where the problem starts. Now, if everyone cannot, now I'm happy. That's a digital situation. Right? You're dead, good man. Not good, but okay.
Yeah.
So now here's the problem, right? So then I said, okay. So I said, fair. So I said, have you guys tried it? Yeah, when we try logging in from home and, it works. I said, okay. I said, now when you log in from your home, you use the organization provided laptop? They said, yes. I said, no, you can't do that, no. The candidate is not using an organization provided laptop. He is using his own laptop. So you also please do it. So a few of them said, now we use our own laptops. Now some got through, some didn't got through. I said, excellent. I said, what type of documents are coming in? Words, PDFs, and images. I said, in this, what gets through and what doesn't get through? Words mostly got through. The images, the JPEGs we allowed, and PDFs, so these were permitted, right? So mostly the PDFs got blocked. So, okay. I said, now let us look at a situation where the PDF of someone actually got through, but for someone it didn't get through. We'll figure out what happened. So we got a few samples, and then I went back, right? So on the WAF, we had put a policy saying that if your PDF version that you are using is lower than a particular version, I'm not wanting to allow you. So you've got to build it
Amazing.
up. There is
So
no choice that
it worked by design.
it worked by design. You've got to build it because as per advisories from Adobe, they said that anything below this version can have vulnerabilities and those. We didn't want them to come in.
Yeah.
You may not like it. I don't care.
Right.
What got you to stay in cybersecurity for so long? Did you ever think, I've got to pivot from here, I got to move into something else?
I guess, Manoj, this was a bit of a natural movement that happened. I have always been a core network and telecom guy. So on the networking and telecom piece of it, I guess I would be able to stand up against anyone, right? For a debate, for a discussion, for an argument, whatever you may wish. I think I spent enough time there. And I very firmly believe that for cybersecurity, there are two things which are fundamental to cybersecurity. And both are basics. One is the basics of networking. So you understand your ports, you understand your protocols, you understand what traffic flows are, etc. and all, right. This is important. The second thing is operating systems, specifically Linux and Unix. You have to have a good grip on that, right? So this two being your fundamentals, you can actually then work to build up on your cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is all about how do you read packets. Everything is there in the packets. There is nothing in the headers. Headers is your information, obviously. But if you want to manipulate anything, it's the packet. So how well you understand the packets at a network layer, how do you understand the packet at an operating system layer, how well you understand the packet at an applications layer. I think this is fundamental to cybersecurity. So for me, I think this became a natural movement. I thought I've kind of done enough with networking, and I was kind of getting a bit bored. I was looking at opportunities as to what to do, and so post my Airtel stint, I came and joined. I joined Axis Bank, and that's where I got, I got this opportunity to kind of delve deep into cybersecurity as a direct responsibility.
So in the differences between coming from the telecom world and now moving into the banking world, I mean, what are the similarities and what are the differences that you've noticed, at least from a point of view of networking and from cybersecurity?
See, both telcos and banks, they have one thing in common is that they've got to handle volume and they've got to handle scale in terms of transactions, right? So volume and scale both, right? Both are regulated entities. The TRAI in India, the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, may not be so stringent and strict or visible as much as the banking regulator is. But having said that, telecom is still regulated, right? You have a lot of regulations that you need to comply to. Now, this was the similarity. Now, from a banking perspective, what becomes very important is that you're dealing with actual money of people. So if 10,000 minus a zero, you wouldn't be happy, right? For whatever reason, if there is a packet loss in the telco link, you wouldn't be happy with it, right? So that's where, so you've got to be careful about, see, when money is involved, and when you look at history, any history, Indian history is a very rich content, right? Majority of the facades that happened because of money.
Yes.
So money being the central thing, there will be people who will try innovative ways to, kind of, as they say, do smart work and become rich. So, there's a lot of work that happens on that ground. So that piece of it is really, really interesting.
And do you find the threat actors between telecom and banking very different or similar?
Threat actors in telecom, see, again, it's net at end of the day, how to get access to data. Now, threat actors in telecom would possibly be using the telecom media
To get the banking.
to get access to the banking, because that's where the data is.
You follow the money.
Yeah. So because you use a lot of connectivity today, so so you use a home Wi-Fi, you use a mobile network, you use a corporate network, you use a public network like in the airports and etc. These are all telecom connectivities, right?
So if you go back and think about a particular incident or a particular challenge you faced, which in many ways defined your way you practice cyber resilience and security today, what would that be?
Yeah, so I will not name the organization, but this organization, and I was still a part of that organization handling the network, operations, and so there was a town hall that was to be that was planned for the MD to address the organization. We expected at least about 100,000 people to log into that, right?
Wow.
I mean, employees, right? And obviously a few partners, etc., and all that. And obviously the organization did not have the capability to do it by themselves, so they had invited a vendor from outside to come and help set this up. So the vendor bought his own laptop, and this laptop was connected to one of the offices. Within 10 minutes, everything went down.
During the town hall.
So when the town hall was to start, it was to start at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. the town hall start. About 7 to 8 minutes, everything almost went dead.
And you had 100,000 people logged in.
Yeah, logged in, but that was not the challenge. The challenge was customer-facing applications also were impacted. So people were not able to log in, people were not able to transact. Your AD logins were failing. Proxy was retrying. I mean, these are sort of discoveries we had later because we weren't able to log in. This put the network down. So we kind of were calculating as to what happened, why did it happen? When 10, 15 minutes, 20, half an hour into the issue, we said, what did we do last night and why is it impacting now? So we kind of looked at all the changes that we had permitted, and suddenly this came that, at this 3 o'clock you had this
External laptop.
so I just told one of my colleagues in the end user team, well, just go and plug out the cable of that laptop. Just do that. Don't do anything else. So we did that, and within 15, 20 minutes, everything was back to normal. Which component in the network was most impacted? Because there has to be someone who fails. Now, if I'm connected to you through Mohan, if I'm unable to reach you, means Mohan is impacted.
Yep.
He's the most impacted guy in the network, right? So which was that element? What sort of a traffic was this laptop generating? Legitimate, illegitimate, which websites, what happened? Why couldn't we detect it? First question is that how did this laptop get connectivity into the network? This is an outsider laptop. How did it get connectivity to an inside network? Who was it checked? Did someone allow it? what checks were done before this was allowed, right? What sort of a traffic and access. So this got me thinking. I said, wow, a corporate network, one laptop, it brought it down. And we talk about DDoS.
Yeah.
This was an internal DDoS. If you kind of
Yeah,
look at the analogy,
absolutely,
this
yeah,
was an
yeah.
internal DDoS. Question is, why couldn't we detect it? How did the laptop get connectivity? These were two primary questions that we wanted to answer, right? And that's got me thinking. I said, well, such a big network, big organization, one laptop brings down everything. Hardly took 7-8 minutes. So if you look at the attack surface today and give it a thought, saying that what can happen, this is scary. This is where those principles of design, visibility, capability to detect and remediate at scale and with speed.
Right.
These three things kind of stuck to me, saying that these are three things we've got to set correct.
Abhijit, talking to cybersecurity leaders always gets the panic button in me going. As a consumer, what are the few things that you would tell me to keep myself protected? Because in this era of deep fakes, scams, what would you advise, let's say, your father or a close relative who is not as IT savvy to be wary of in protecting himself or her?
Another acronym, I call it GRIT, G-R-I-T. So GRIT is a self-coined acronym. I use it for grid, repulsion, instantaneous action, or impulse, if I may call it. And T stands for threat or terror. I'll give you an example. There's a guy who's in need of money. Now, Indians, we're a bit religious, so on my way to office, home, wherever I see a mandir, I said, Bhagwan, kuch to de do mere ko. I'm in need of money, right? I do this for quite a point of time. And suddenly there's an SMS on my mobile. You have won Bhutan lottery, 5 crore rupees. Please click on this link. Now that poor chap now loses even the 50 rupees he has in his account.
Great.
See, that grit something applies here. This is exactly where we go wrong. So awareness, see, when you are ruling on a digital environment, you've got to be aware of what the environment, how does the process work? How does the environment work? So as a consumer, your own awareness about that environment is important. There was this lady, a friend close to my wife, once they came to us for a cup of tea. She said that she had ordered something online and, someone called her saying that, ma'am, we have got your goods at our warehouse, but your area is not registered with us and we'll send you a link. And you make a payment of 2 rupees and it'll get registered and within 40 minutes, max an hour, we will deliver. I was like, okay, what happened post that? She was like, well, I paid that 40 rupees and I said you would have sent you a link and which you would have to use an UPI to make a payment. She said, yeah, that's the most normal thing. So excellent. I said, after that, they delivered within 45 odd minutes, all that I ordered, I said, how long back did this happen? Now she got anxious. I said, how long back did this happen? She says, well, this is 6 o'clock now, been about an hour, maybe. I said, please call up your bank and block that account. She's like, should I block my card? I said, ma'am, block your account. Card what name? Block your account. You yourself should not be able to transact now. Block your account right now. I made her do it. And she was like, ab kya hoga? I said, tomorrow morning again come over for a cup of tea, but get your phone along. So she came the next day morning, there were about 7-8 SMSs on her mobile. There were attempts being made on her account, some for 2 lakhs, some for 200, some for 2. The moment you made that payment through UPI, it collected all your username and passwords into your account, right? Logically think at this, Manoj. Why would a courier guy, a logistics company, whose job is to deliver parcels or consignments, call you and tell you that your area is not registered? Does it make sense? It doesn't. So as a consumer, you've got to be aware of this.
Training, educating consumers, especially senior citizens, important in the context of the bank that you operate, and how are you doing anything about it?
Yes, it does. Training is very, very important. We publish a lot of videos of how to identify funny behaviors or how to deal with a specific form of message that you may receive. How to cut. The first thing to do is to control your anxiety and panic. You would get a message saying that, this is from the Telecom Authority of India and your number will be disconnected in 2 minutes. And the message is coming from an international number.
Yeah.
Why should try send a message from somewhere in Indonesia?
Correct.
And will try ever do that? So this is awareness. You've got to be aware of. I mean, there's no escaping this. Once you are in a digital economy, you have to know how the digital economy works.
Abhijit, time for rapid fire. We've got 5 questions. We ask it to every CISO.
Sure.
We'd love to get your opinion. If not a CISO, what would your career be?
Musician.
Oh, what music do you play, Abhijit?
I sing pretty well.
Oh, next time we're going to start. Maybe we'll end today's episode with a song from Abhijit. Yeah? One metric you believe every CISO should obsess over.
How many times have you been able to defend an attack?
Okay. What do you mean by defend and attack? Attack
Someone
back?
attempted, you were able to defend. How many times? What types of attacks were they?
If you had to eliminate one cybersecurity buzzword forever, what would it be?
Cybersecurity buzzword. Cybersecurity itself is a buzzword, I guess. You've kind of simplify this. People are afraid of it, I think.
When building a team, passion, process, or pedigree, what comes first for you?
Passion.
What's a security habit you wish every employee had?
Look for anomalies. I think in everyday life, anything that seems anomalous, zero trust. Go back, verify, validate, and then move ahead.
Abhijit, it has been fabulous talking to you. I think I have to end with this question. When you define success as a cybersecurity leader, how has your definition of success changed over the years? You had a certain degree of definition, and have you adapted more over a period of time?
Definitely, yes. I think today success is all about winning with collaboration. It is not your winning. So, it's like those cricket matches. So someone told me someday that, India is a country of ABC. I said, ABC? He said, yeah, astrology, Bollywood, and cricket. So, okay. So cricket in India is in everyone's blood, right? So, you have someone scoring a double century, but the team loses. What do you call that a success? So, you look at the South African team at that point in time, not now, but you didn't have a star in the team, but you had a star team. Everyone delivered their role. I think that is success. Collaboration, communication, trust with each other, and that alignment, I think, is very, very important.
Excellent.
Excellent, Abhijit. It has been fabulous. I think
Yes,
both
wonderful. We learned a lot.
Yeah. Maybe we should end this with a small song from you. Your favorite song.
Yeah.
It has never happened on a cybersecurity podcast anywhere in this world before.
So there's this. I'm a big fan of Kishore Kumar. So there's this one which goes like this. It's a pretty motivational song though. It says, "Ruk jana nahi, tu kahin haar ke, kaanton se chal ke milenge saaye bahar ke, o rahi, o rahi, o rahi, o rahi."
Awesome. We had fun. Thank you, Abhi.
Thanks.
Wonderful. Love to have you.